Hi, today I've got in front of me a full 3 kilo piece of brisket, which we got from a very nice online butcher's. Luckily it's been mostly trimmed for us, because all you need really is a fat layer of no more than 1/8 of an inch. Anything more than that, you just need to trim it off. On the underside, however, you can see there's lots of sinew and bits of fat here that need to be removed. If you don't, all the rub and the smoke and everything is not going to penetrate into the meat. It'll just sit in this very, very chewy, not exactly appealing layer, and all your hard work is going to be wasted. So all you need to do is trim all this, then when you flip it back over, put it straight, then look over here. So you've got a nice piece here and it's a bit scraggly at this end. So what we do is we'll put a slice in between about 6 to 8 inches in from the end. Put a slice in, not deep, just about 1/4 inch, right through. Which means this end, you have a lovely clean piece of brisket, and this end will be used for what we call burnt ends, and we'll explain all about that later. So we start off trimming this first. One thing about when you're trimming all this off, you need to keep the meat as intact as humanly possible, because we don't actually want to ruin what is not really a very cheap piece of meat here. So you just need to take it off very carefully, keeping as much meat as possible intact. As you can see, I've trimmed off all that lovely sinew and knicker elastic. The little bits of fat in between you need to leave, otherwise even with an injection you're going to get no moisture whatsoever. Obviously, layer of fat, again, leave in for the same reason, same as why you've got your fat on top. Now, to make sure it stays moist, we're going to do an injection. So we get a pint of water. Let's put it here. About a tablespoon of all-purpose brine, which we mix together in a jug. This will help keep the meat moist. It will also impart quite a subtle flavour to it. It'll keep it nice and flavourful. Now, what we do is we take this nice piece of meat, first put it bottom side up in a tray. The reason being is that when you put your injection in, if any overflows, it'll go into there. So, one large meat injection needle, put it straight into the brine, open it up. Now, going with the grain, don't go against it, push it in and start putting your injection in. And my hubby says, inject the hell out of it. So any overflow will go inside. I personally like doing it in lines, then I know exactly where I'm up to and what parts I've injected already. Carry on until you've used all the mixture. Okay, so I've used about 3/4 of a pint there of injection, and I'm just going to pour the rest over. Then I'm going to let this brisket sit, I'd say for a minimum in the fridge of 8 hours, ideally overnight, to let all the flavours of the brine sink in.
Okay, so this is the morning after. I've just pulled the brisket out of the fridge. I've just drained off all the excess liquid. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put on the rub that we're going to use, which is the Cancer Sweet and Smoky. Now, the space name, it's not one of the 2 sweeter ones, But when you're going for brisket, you want anything that's got not a lot of sugar in. So either the Kansas, the Texas spicy, or the Memphis dry rubs will all do well with brisket. Now I'm going to put this on and leave it to marinate for approximately half an hour. While it's doing that, I've just got the barbecue started up. Got the chimney on the go now, and I've got the charcoal set out ready for a slow burn, and I'll let that come up to temperature while this is marinating. Now it's a big piece of meat, so I'm going to put plenty of rub on so it'll give us a nice bark. Now bark is just like it is on a tree, it's just a term that they use in America for a crust. The brisket is just marinating at the moment. This is the bottom of our bullet smoker. I've just set out the charcoal in a ring in the basket, just around the plant pot, to give me somewhere to pour the hot coals, and that allow for a slow burn outside, which means I don't have to fill it up as much. What we've got is our barbecues are all set up now. We've poured the hot coals in the centre of the ring, and they'll slowly burn outside. Now we're just going to put on the rest of the bullet smoker. This is our new Pro Q XL, and in here okay, so now we've got the bullet smoker all put together with the charcoal at the bottom. We're just going to preheat it up until about 300 Fahrenheit, and we've got a nice stable temperature there. Okay. Our barbecue's just coming up to temperature for this stage, just 300 to 350. This is a slightly different method to normal brisket. It involves a bit more of a hot and fast smoking stage for the first 2.5 hours. That's what we're going to do. So very quickly I'm going to take this off. And then I'm going to take our brisket and I'm going to place it fat side down. It is still cold at this point, so I'll take the smoke just a little bit better. And then I'm just going to lock it in. Keep an eye on the temperature. Still want it to be around 300, 350 for approximately the next 2.5 hours. This is when you're going to add the wood to the smoker as well. So far the brisket's been going for approximately 2.5 hours at quite a high heat. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to take it off here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take it and put it into a tray. I'm also picking up all the scraps of fat that we had yesterday. Just going to put them in the back there. They'll come in more important for the collected juices later that we're going to be using for our burnt ends. What I'm going to do now is going to be lightly covering this all in foil quite tightly around the edge. Now, okay, so now the internal temperature of our brisket has come up to 190 degrees, and we're just going to check with the meat thermometer again against the grain. We're looking for about the mid 80s. So just a little bit longer, I think, on the thicker sides. You also want to check, make sure that your meat probe goes in nice and easily, not too long. I think we have a couple of hours. Okay, so here's our brisket. It's finished cooking, taking a total of about, it's 1 o'clock now, about an extra 4 hours after the smoking. So what we're going to do, just going to take this off here. Now all these juices, they're in here, we're going to keep as part of our liquid gold. You just want to pour them off through a sieve, so you can strain out all the bits. This is something that we're going to keep. In America they call it the liquid gold, and we're going to use it. It's filled with meaty flavour. We'll skim off some of the fat, but we'll use it to base some of the brisket later. Now, what you may remember is that when we started this, we scored the meat just about there, 1/4 of an inch, just so we could remember where we were. And that's where we're going to just cut down now. So this section here is going to go back to the barbecue, and it's going to become part of our burnt ends, which I'll go through with you in a minute. In the meantime, this is our brisket. Now, hopefully you can see there, around the edge, we've got a nice deep red colour there, and that's our smoke ring. You can still see the juices. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to boil this up, keep it warm until we're ready for it. Okay, so now the main part of our brisket is wrapped up. What we're going to do is we're taking this end piece that we've got, and we're going to start making our burnt ends with it. Now what you want to do is just lightly re-season it with your rub. Now while you're doing this, you want to make sure your grill is going up a bit in temperature. You want it around 275, and what we're going to do is we're going to put this directly back onto the grill grate, so of the smoker, so not in a pan, and it's going to go in there for approximately 1 hour. Okay, so here we are. Just going to start carving this up. Now if this was for competition, we'll be looking at something between 8 and 9 inches, so that it fits in the box properly. But since this is just for us at home, just going to cut it like this, roughly 1/2 centimetre. Harder to hold on to. So Just move all this onto the plate. Now over here we've got our burnt ends, which have just been cooked for a little bit longer. And these we just cut up into more inch wide. Chunks like these. These are more the chef's perks. Like that. And then when we get to our plate, hopefully you can see the colouring we've got. And then with the cooking liquor that we've got saved over, you can pour that on or brush it over, and that just adds that extra layer of flavour. There we go. I hope you enjoyed our video of how to do beef brisket.
Nice smoke ring on it, love. Don't you?